Let me start with the game that I'll be at. Obviously, not going to make a pick in this one, but I wanted to talk about this Penn State Ohio State game. We will be live in Columbus for Big Noon Saturday. Big Noon Kickoff will be live starting at 10 a.m. Eastern as Ohio State welcomes in Penn State. Now, obviously, before the year, we all thought this was going to be a massive, massive, massive game at the top end of the AP. Thought at one point, hey, this could be the top two teams in college football. This almost certainly is going to be a top five matchup. And lo and behold, that did not materialize. Penn State has gone on, well, kind of as cold as my picks have been. And they fired James Franklin and now come in to the shoe off of 4 straight losses. Never thought that I would see that. And Ryan Day is now coaching the number 1 team in the country, the undefeated Buckeyes, and by a wide margin, even by the AP standard, they're generating almost all, not all, but almost all of the first place votes in the AP poll, and rightly so. This has been the most dominant and complete team in college football. Most people will lament their schedule, but no one was doing that in the preseason when they were facing both Texas and this game, Penn State, on their schedule. They can't control the fact that Texas did not play well during the course of the season, and Penn State obviously has not played well during the course of the season. So, what do we think about this matchup in particular? Penn State is going to come into this game with nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. Lay it on the line. Why not? Who cares? Fake kicks, trick plays, dialing up on defense. I feel like this is going to be a kitchen sink game for Penn State because why not? I mean, they're not in the running to go to the Big Ten championship game. They're not in the running to go to the CFP. And so there's a lot of pride on the line for a team that still has a very talented roster. Let's not be buried under a rock here and bury our heads in the sand and not at least acknowledge the fact that Penn State still has one of the most talented rosters in college football. And while they've lost these games, let's be honest, they've lost these 4 in a row. It was an emotional, tough loss in double overtime to Oregon in the whiteout. That sent them on the downward spiral. They lose to UCLA by 5, then multiple back-to-back, I should say, 1-point losses to Northwestern and Iowa. And obviously, Iowa is a good team that could be playing themselves into a conversation or a battle for the CFP. So this Penn State team is not a bad team, even though their record suggests that they're playing really poorly. Snakebit in some cases. Obviously, Drew Aller out in this one. It's going to be Ethan Grunkmeyer in at quarterback for Penn State. What a two-game baptism it is for Grunkmeyer. He's got to start at Iowa against that defense led by Phil Parker in Kinnick Stadium. And then in his second start, he's got to go to the shoe and face what everyone, including myself, believes is the best defense in all of college football with Matt Patricia and in that environment. So I tell you what, good on you, man. And he didn't play poorly in that Iowa game. Iowa obviously winning that ball game by a point. The more fascinating matchup, though, is the one I'm going to sit on right here, and that's the matchup with Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator for the Penn State defense, against this Ohio State offense. And I got to tell you, I can't remember a more fascinating matchup in this one. Obviously, Matt Patricia in to coordinate the defense for Ohio State after Jim Knowles coordinated a national championship defense, number 1 defense in the country, and he leaves in the conference to really not biggest rival, but the biggest threat coming into this season in the Big Ten, and he coordinates the Penn State defense. I'm fascinated by this because of the level of knowledge that each group is going to have against the other. Ryan Day and Brian Hartline are going to know exactly how they want to attack Jim Knowles and his tendencies, the way he adjusts his defense. They've been with him for multiple years. They've seen it. Meanwhile, Knowles is going to have the exact same institutional knowledge of Ohio State's offense, Ryan Day, and Brian Hartline. What they like to do, what their tendencies are, what their formation tells are. He will know that specifically. So someone's going to have to break tendencies here to gain the advantage. And who's it going to be? That's what I find as a fascinating matchup. As an observer, it's something that I'll be talking about a lot early in that game to see which team looks different. Are they breaking tendencies? Are they breaking structure to try to confuse the opposite coordinator, I think that's going to be really an awesome thing to watch. And then what type of game plan are we going to get from Ohio State on the offensive side? Ryan Day and Brian Hartline, they have at times this year played it pretty close to the vest. The example of that would be against Texas in the opening game. There have been times when they've let the passing game cut it loose. An example of that would be Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin is very good against the run, so it led them to the point where they're like, hey, let's just let Julian Sand throw the football, and you saw what he was able to do. They threw the ball better and more efficiently against Wisconsin than even Bama did. Now, at its best, I think that this Ohio State passing game can be the best passing game in college football. They've got the best tandem in college football on the outside in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and a quarterback that has largely been the most efficient quarterback in the sport. In particular, from an accuracy standpoint, Julian Sand has been surgical in the way that he has played this year at the quarterback position. Now going up against a defense that he will have faced last year, even as the non-starter against Jim Knowles. And what are they going to do? Are they going to cut it loose? Are they going to be aggressive down the field? Sand ripped apart Wisconsin, threw for nearly 400 yards. Is this a game like that? Or is it a game where they'll play it more close to the vest, short passing, running the football like Texas and Washington? I feel, again, I haven't talked to these guys yet this week, but as I watch the film, I just sense that Ohio State's going to be aggressive in this matchup. That's where their advantage lies. They haven't run the ball great this year, and I don't see them trying to just bang their head against a brick wall trying to run the football at a defensive front that can play elite football. I do see them trying to be a little bit aggressive in the passing game. Grunkmeyer is going to be making his second start on the opposite side for Penn State. Started in Kinnick last week. Now he gets this defense in the shoe. This defense is incredible. They disguise their coverage better than anybody in college football. They run more unique structures than anybody in college football. It is an NFL defense. You're watching the New England Patriots defense in college with Ohio State. Now, it takes talent, and it also takes intelligence to do that. They have both of those in spades on that side of the ball. I think Caden Curry has been a revelation up front for them with how he's gotten after the passer. Those linebackers are the best tandem in college football, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, and they still have the guy, the Swiss Army knife, probably the best defender in college football from an impact perspective, in Caleb Downs. That's a defense that has given up 41 total points this year. That's a staggering number. Grunkmeyer, by the way, he grew up 30 minutes from Ohio Stadium, so you know he's going to be motivated. Similar to Aller, who was an Ohio kid or wanted to go to Ohio State, and now he's going to be in there in the shoe with a lot of motivation. That'll be fun to watch that. Penn State, they've lost those 4 in a row. This is a team that, again, is talented. I think they'll play better. Katron Allen is the best thing that they've got going on the offensive side. Nick Singleton has not been himself this year, so they've leaned more into Allen. And we will be there live on Saturday, Big Noon Saturday. Gus, Ginny, and I will have the call. Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.